Alright, hello you absolute lovelies. Let's talk all about GenV Season 2, Episodes 1, 2, and 3 with full spoilers for those first 3 episodes. Now, I am going to be reviewing this week to week going forward, but Amazon released these first 3 as a bunch. I'm going to do Episode 4, then 5, then 6, etc. weeks going forward. So, this is going to be spoilers for those first 3. This show is back in a very gripping and interesting way that also feels somehow more intimate and a little more earnest and a little bit more sensitive in an odd way. A descriptor for Gen V isn't usually sensitive, but it's a little more delicate of a season than Season 1. Very curious to see where things go. A lot of things happening, a lot of big arcs starting with a huge ensemble of characters, so gonna be diving into that here in a second. But if you're new to this page, please hit that subscription bell. I cover movies, I cover TV, and I cover comic books. This is a spin-off of a comic book that I adore. I'm actually one of the people that loves The Boys, the comic, and even more loves The Boys, the show. This is Gen V, so it's not directly based off a comic, but I've got a good source of knowledge for The Boys universe. So if you love comics, if you love movies, TV, hit that subscription bell. Also press a like in this video. It helps the algorithm. And most of all, let's have a conversation in the comments below. Let's talk about Gen V Season 2, and let's start right now. All right, so Gen V Season 2 had an impossible task before it where it wanted to continue with these incredible characters, but in real life lost one of its leads. The actor Chance Perdomo passed away between seasons of the show, and Andre, his character, was one of the leads of the show and ended the first season very beautifully, heroically. And I love that this show is choosing to keep Andre a hero and have the sacrifice of him not be a throwaway line of dialogue, not be something that feels like it's ghoulish and trying to keep him alive in a way that is not fair to the character or the actor. Instead, it is keeping him alive in a very beautiful way, honoring the heroism of the character and making the consequence of this action reverberate through every character this whole season. It's letting the actors mourn. It reminds me of Wakanda Forever in an interesting way, where the death of someone is going to affect everyone that worked with them. So in real life, all those actors lost a friend. In the show, all those characters lost a friend. And it's beautiful that they're letting that sacrifice in canon honor the actor in our world in a really wonderful way. So I love that the father of Andre is getting to be more of a character. I love that they've got, kind of an inside man at Vought through the dad. I love that he's trying to honor his son. I love the friend dynamics. I was a little afraid, let's start with the two outliers there. I was a little afraid that Sam and Kate are villains at the end of Gen V Season 1 that then popped up in The Boys as this great tie-in. I was afraid they would just be villains. I was afraid they were going to just turn into, bad guys, especially at their power set. And I really shouldn't have doubted the writers. The nuanced approach is what they're doing, where Kate has so much remorse. Sam is not just backsliding, but he's certainly regressing some, but he's trying to keep his wits about him. And it's really fun to watch that. Also, some of the things they've done to Kate, you're sympathetic to a point, but not all the way. She did horrible things to them. So I'm really liking that nothing is just linear. I like that it's shades of gray. And I said at the top of this, there is a bit of a sympathy and an empathy and a softness to this season where it does feel like these are kids. Like these are sophomores in college. I like that The Boys is a bit more of a harder show. This show is plenty graphic, it's plenty gruesome, it's plenty sexual, it's plenty all the things. But The Boys has an edge to it that is very angry and artistic in an aggressive way. This show is those things, but in a different feel. And it does feel like disorienting. It does feel like mixed messaging. It does feel like college. And that's what Gen V is all about. I love that God U feels like it's this place that is oppressive and awful, like the world is oppressive and awful. But we care about these characters in a little bit more of a sensitive way, and I love that. The character of Sam, I've really enjoyed her arc this season. Last season, she wanted nothing more than to be a social media darling. Now she wants nothing to do with it. Likewise, we had Jordan want to be the number one, on the ranking, and now is at the end of this episode 3, completely done with that, sacrifices the dream for the integrity of what they've been through. And just throwing themselves on this, throwing a target on their back in a second with this one speech, this platform. I think it's a really wonderful use of the arc we've had with Jordan so far. Marie is going through a fascinating journey where she just found out where her sister's been this whole time. And that family dynamic and that revelation about her parents, that recontextualizes everything we've known about Marie so far. And I'm really curious how Marie's powers are going to get to level up. In sequels of movies or sequels of shows, like a season 2 versus season 1, you've got to level up. You've got to increase. You've got to, intensify the action. You've got to do all those things. I'm really curious how they do it with Marie's powers, because it seems like we're going to get her powers to be able to utilize without having to cut. That metaphor for, self-harm tying into Sam. Man, what is her name? Cricket's metaphor for self-harm. I really love that they're still touching on those. I love that, Andre's dad was worried about the Cricket actress, or I forget Cricket's character name. Cricket's bulimia and the eating disorder things. Like, all of that is really beautifully sensitive while being a show that has some of the craziest violence, that has some of the craziest overt sexuality, and they're playing on those lines in a really wonderful way. I really have enjoyed so far seeing what we're getting with the actors playing these characters, but also with some of the new characters or characters that are getting elevated. But my favorite character this season is a new character. What Hamish Linklater is bringing as this Dean slash evil Dumbledore overseer, Magneto vibe. Greg Alba coined it very quickly. He is such a Magneto. And I'm doing reactions over at Real Reject, by the way. So if you want to see my thoughts as well as me reacting in full time, if you want to see more of these thoughts, Real Rejects every single week, live reactions, check them out. But he noticed very quickly, Hamish Linklater is very much playing a Magneto type. Because I was like, oh, they're in the danger room. That room of basically a mix of the history of the dark arts plus the danger room is going down. But it is a very Magneto performance in that he is judging humanity because they are above it. And the way he talks and how calculating he is. And he's also doing this great Jordan Peterson thing where Jordan Peterson is so presenting at all times. There's always an affectation to him. And he's always like manipulative and calculating with his words in a very intelligent but very self-serving way. And I really have enjoyed seeing that in this type of villain character. And I think Hamish Linklater is doing a fascinating job. I'm so impressed with the new addition of him. The bee woman is absolutely terrifying and so uncomfortable. They had an impossible task with carrying this show on, and it's such an important show, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's also world building in a really fun way by having, I feel like Black Noir is going to be really important either at the end of the season or in season 5 of The Boys, especially if it follows anything from the comic, but it can't really because of things that have already happened. But I digress. There's a lot of Black Noir in this. There's a lot of Homelander just as an ominous figure. There's been cameos, obviously. We had the Starlighters as a figure, but then we actually had Starlight in a very interesting way as like this act of rebellion. I like the deep moments in both puppetry and in that live action cameo. They're really doing a good job world building without it feeling like pandering. They're letting this Vought world feel lived in, and that makes me excited for the 2 other Vought shows they're making right now. So really impressed overall with these first 3 episodes, with its balanced tone, with its ability to judge so many arcs and characters. I'm really excited to see what happens to Marie. I'm really impressed with Cricket's growth. I really like this. The acting, she's crushing it. My God. And Marie's last speech, man, those 2. Yeah, really impressed overall. Very excited to see what comes next. I'd love to know what you guys think is about to come. Let me know in the comments below. Please leave a like in this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, what do you think happens now that Jordan has revealed all the stuff that went down with Kate, now that, she's trying to get the Starlighters to be, cleared their name? There's so much going on. And then all the stuff with Marie. What's going to happen with Sam? What's going to happen with Kate? A lot to happen. I'll be back next week for episode 4. As of you watching this, we are still knee-deep in Peacemaker glory. Peacemaker season 2 coverage happening. We're about to wrap up Alien Earth. There's so much happening on this page in September, so check out Alien Earth coverage if that's your sort of thing. Peacemaker if that's your sort of thing. More Gen V next week. A lot of movie stuff, Spinal Tap, and Big Bold Beautiful Journey, and of course comic stuff. So click on all the things. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you soon. Bye.